Hello and welcome back to Up the Villa. Welcome to Transfer Hub, your home of Aston Villa's transfer news, links, rumours, noise, murmurings, incomings, outgoings. You name it, you'll find it here on Transfer Hub over the course of the summer. If you are new to our channel, make sure you are subscribing. Smash that like button. Let's go for 500 today. Let's start the week off well. And most importantly, comment your thoughts in the comment section down below. So, got quite a lot to run through. Made some notes of all the things that I want to talk about today to start the week off. So, number one, well, we got a couple of things. We are going to be talking about an goalkeeping development that may keep Emi Martinez at Aston Villa. But first, there are rumours going around that Alejandro Garnacho is open to a Villa move. So, for me, someone who really wants Garnacho, I think that's music to my ears. I don't know what type of deal this will be. I have a feeling we could land him on loan. I think Manchester United, would like to offload Garnacho. The fee that was doing the rounds at the start of the window was 70, 60, and I don't think anyone will pay that. I think they know the position that Manchester United are in. They know that they have ultimately got a bomb squad that they don't want. And they've made it perfectly clear that they don't want these players. Yet Manchester United have got high valuations on these players. So the two doesn't combine to make sense. Because if you've got players that you don't want and you're openly looking to offload, why are clubs going to come in and pay the asking price that you've valued those players at? Now, if they'd have sort of kept them on the down low and just had them in and around the squad, then that makes sense and internally. But because Man United have made it such a big deal that they don't want Rashford and Garnacho, etc., that I just don't see clubs coming in and paying what they're asking for. Now, we know that Marcus Rashford had a £40 million option for clubs to buy him this summer, and nobody activated it. Barcelona have come in for Rashford and signed him on loan, and now there's an option in that deal that they can buy him for 30 million. So we've knocked off 10 million because a season's going to have gone by, but even then they've been able to negotiate a deal where it's not the actual deal that was being offered to clubs in this window. So I could probably imagine that there'll be something similar with Garnacho. I think a loan deal with a fee, and that's something that could possibly get done because he's not going to play for Manchester United. So it depends what club takes him. And what we've been hearing about Garnacho is that he wants to stay in the Premier League. The only other club that I think could possibly go in for him would be someone like Chelsea, who just don't mind having copious amounts of players that just fill the same role that they've already got, and etc. etc. And then you've got someone like Sancho. Again, he's someone that they really want to move on and get rid of as well. So I think that's the general gist of what's going to happen there. It's, again, it probably ties in with how I feel about Villa's transfer business. It's going to be late. It's going to be late on in the window when we've probably had our own developments, and then teams like Manchester United can move the players that they're. And to be honest, it feels the same pattern as what happens with Villa. And this is the thing about when a club have got players that they openly don't want, they don't leave early in a window or the middle part of a window. They move on towards the end of the window. And that's what's going to happen with Villa probably. Bailey will go late on, then Donker will go late on, Buendia will go late on. These players will move late in the window when more clubs come in for them, or, you know, we've probably been speaking with clubs and we just work like that. And when that happens to Villa, then we'll probably go in and do the same to some other clubs as well. So it's probably going to be a late surge from Villa and attacking at the end of the window. So we've just got to hold our nerve and be patient, really, and just hope that it all does come together eventually. So, regarding the goalkeeper situation at Manchester United, we've got understand Manchester United made initial contacts to be informed on a deal condition for 23-year-old goalkeeper Sene Lemens. So it also, and this is from Fabrizio, he also goes on to say Dibu Martinez also an option, but more expensive. So Manchester United do look to have moved slightly in the window and asked for initial contact on another goalkeeper, 23 years of age. Again, that probably makes more sense for Manchester United to sign Sene Lemens because he's 23 years of age. You have more longevity. Martinez would be big fee, no resale value. So for a club that are having financial problems, does it make sense? Are they looking for the here and now? Possibly. So that's good news for Aston Villa that Manchester United look like they might be looking to going for a cheaper goalkeeper, and then that would enable Villa to keep Martinez. So that one is interesting. Something else that's interesting is that the Chelsea boys are sniffing around Morgan Rogers. I've seen an article suggesting that they're willing to send Villa's way Ada Boyo, Chalobah, and Buddy Ashley for Morgan Rogers. And I imagine there's a fee in there as well. So basically, they are mopping up all the players that are surplus to requirements and going to try and offload those for Rogers, which will be swiftly rejected if they were to do that. Rogers, I think Villa have kind of been quite firm and said he's untouchable and he's not gettable. And that's something that I believe. I think there are players within this Villa squad that Villa would sell if clubs bid. And if clubs bid a certain amount, I think we would sell them. But for me, I think Rodgers, 100 million, that's what I'd put on him. Big player for Villa, bright future, loads of talent, probably one of our best players, if not our best at times. Going forward, especially someone who is going to have a great season. You know, he's going to be that player for Villa. So 100 million, that's what I would say his valuation is. And I think I can't see Chelsea going in for him. What makes me more confident is that they got João Pedro, who I kind of feel is in a bit of a similar sort of profile mode to Morgan Rogers. And I don't think you would need both. So that would probably give me a little bit of confidence that I don't think they're going to go in for him. Interestingly, I'm going on a Chelsea channel today to talk about Morgan Rogers to Chelsea. So I will say he's untouchable. And I'd say my percentage of him going to Chelsea is at 0. But there is noise because their fans are talking about Rogers to Chelsea. They want me on their show to talk about it. So that's what I'm doing. I'm also going on a Nottingham Forest channel tomorrow to talk about a player who Nottingham Forest front runners for Jacob Ramsey. So 2 opposition channels are talking about our players going to them. Ramsey to Forest. I actually saw a position in the Rostock game for Ramsey on the left-hand side in that new formation that we trialled, and I actually felt he looked more comfortable. And yes, it's Rostock, it's not a Premier League team, but actually just felt like he looked more connected to the team. I think at times my big thing, and I've said it before, I feel he looks disjointed from this Villa team. And actually against Rostock, he looked more connected to the formation. So I would like to see him in this formation if we do go with it again at Frankfurt, or we go with it for the American teams that we're playing, and have another look at it and see how it's developing and see how he's growing within this formation, see how he's doing with a good pre-season. I think as well, I've seen a few comments saying that, we're lacking numbers. We've lost numbers. I think we've lost 9 goals in the Premier League with Asensio and Rashford leaving, and we've lost 3 assists. So those numbers need filling. But currently, I do believe we've got players that can add to those numbers. We need more numbers, of course. So I'm looking at Marlon. I'm looking at Ramsey. I'm looking at McGinn. Those types of players, I'm looking at better numbers. Maybe a central midfielder like Tielemans getting even more than last season. Watkins getting more than last season. Rodgers getting more than last season. Couple of goals from maybe some centre halves, chipping in more. More assists from, if we're playing with wing backs getting more assists, etc. Couple of goals with back post runners, switching of play. So those type of things I think we'd be looking to improve on. And I think sometimes you can look at a season and go, we had bad numbers last season. That doesn't mean that they're going to have bad numbers this season. So I'd like to use the Leon Bailey formula for that. The season before last, he had exceptional numbers. The next season, he had terrible ones. So if some of these players have had poor numbers last season, let's hope they have purple numbers this season. So, yeah, Ramsey to Forest. I think what's happening with Forest, they've still got Gibbs White. Looks like he's going on their tour. So I don't think he's that close to going to Spurs yet, but I think he probably will. And that would leave a space for someone like Ramsey. Now, Forest are saying that he's number one priority. He's their number one target. So again, if he is, then you've got to pay the money to go and get him. If you're getting 60 million plus for Gibbs White, then you should be getting in and around 40-ish for Ramsey. So if we get that type of money, fine, bank it, spend it. Let's build a Villa squad that's challenging where we want to be challenging next summer. It's, again, we've heard in this article here that if Martinez is staying, we need to get the wage bill down. Ramsey's wages aren't that high anyway, so it doesn't really help that situation. So who knows what's going to happen there? Is someone else going to leave? So, yeah, so there we go. And then finally, having a look at the formation from the weekend, highlighted to me that we need to recruit for that formation if we do. And a dream target, I got asked this at the weekend, and he's fairly getting on into his, I wouldn't say latter years, but I think he's 29. Denzel Dumfries. And Barca want him, but the director at Inter has come out and said, we have not received any formal approach from Barca for Denzel Dumfries. There is a release clause, it's true, but it will expire soon and we will keep going. So the expiry date is mid-July. So it's approaching fastly, and it is at 25 million. And he would be a perfect dream for Aston Villa, playing in that wing-back role on the right-hand side. Just physicality, strength, power. He would be absolutely brilliant for Aston Villa. So there's a little bit of a roundup of all of the noise of what's happening at the minute. So the Martinez one, again, one to keep an eye on. Interesting to see what happens there. Garnacho, still linked. Still a lot of noise with Garnacho. And Morgan Rodgers, untouchable for Villa. So I think what's happening this week is all of the squad comes together now. The squad that have had a longer break, which is pretty much most of the squad. Last week, we're doing their preparation work, strength and conditioning. They were doing their sort of like mini medicals where they check everything with the players, like, I don't know, probably like muscle mass and body weight and strength of, I don't know, like leg pushing up and stuff on weights and all those like key metrics and running stats, etc. Getting base levels of where they are so they can start with a base and see how it develops across the course of the season. They'll probably all join up this week with the actual main bulk of pre-season squad. And then we'll be working. We've got a week now until, well, just under a week until our next game. So I imagine on the training pitch, there's a lot of work going in. There's a lot of theory. There's a lot of analysis. There's a lot of learning. There's a lot of patterns of play, structure, etc. And then they'll be doing a lot of ball work, getting match fit as well. And then they'll put it all into operation on, I think it's Saturday night when we play Frankfurt. I think it's around midnight. So, no game in between, and there'll be a lot of work being done. So, really excited to see how the rest of pre-season goes. And yeah, so cheers everyone for watching. If there's any more news dropping today, then I'll be back. Go and check out my tactical episode that I did yesterday. Really, really insightful on the new formation that we played. So have a look at that if you've not seen it already. Any Villa news drops, I'll be here. If not, I'm working on a nice episode. So that'll be out tomorrow. Up the Villa.